So welcome everyone. My name is Matt Inglot, and we're going to be talking today about how to turn your website into an awesome lead generation machine. So before we do that, just a couple things. I'm going to introduce myself. So this is the voice that's talking to you right now. I'm Matt. I'm the founder of Tilted Pixel, and we are a website development company. I started it 8 years ago. And basically, we started building websites for people. And then we realized something. We realized it's not really what we do. What we actually do these days is we create success for people online. So the real purpose of having a website and the real purpose of Tilted Pixel's existence is to help our clients actually achieve measurable results online, whether that means that you're going to get more sales, you're going to spread your message, you're going to try to get leads like we're going to talk about today. That is what we do. And I really appreciate everyone coming today. I know that it's an hour of your day, so I'm definitely going to do everything I can to deliver at least an hour's worth of value to you, and to help yourselves get the most out of it as well. A couple things you can do. Definitely, I recommend shutting off email, shutting off your smartphone. I'm actually about to do the same with mine. So shut off all those distractions. I promise you the work will still be there for you in an hour. And there's also a chat box, as many of you have already discovered. Awesome. So from time to time, we'll interact a little bit. And of course, we will have some time for questions. So the chat box is the means to communicate. So today, I really want to talk to you about 3 topics and 3 topics only. One, I want to talk about how the internet has changed sales and marketing and why your website is now central to it. So basically, my job here is to do a bit of a sales pitch on why you should care about any of this stuff and why it's impossible to ignore your online presence these days. Then we're going to talk about how we actually turn our website visitors into leads. And finally, how you can also use your website to support the rest of your sales process, which is a nice little bonus. But a lot of people actually forget about this. And we're going to talk about the actual structuring of a website and how to make it so you're actually focusing on converting your visitors into your leads, into your customers. And we're going to talk about 21 specific tactics I handpicked for you about how you can do this. So before we get started, just maybe a quick little shout out of what your business is and what you actually sell. Just feel free to type it into the chat box. Just give us an idea of what kind of audience we have today. Okay, video production, awesome. Ecotourism, legal services, auto repair service and repairs, awesome. Software development consulting, near and dear to my heart. Subscription sports website service, ooh, awesome. All right, so we definitely have a diverse group of folks out here. Awesome. And I'm very confident to say that the information we have can benefit all of you. And I challenge you, especially once we get into the specific tactics, to really think about your own business model and pick out the information that's most applicable to it versus trying to chase your tail by applying absolutely everything that we talk about. But first and foremost, some fundamentals. So my basic proposition of this entire webinar is the internet has changed things. And here's how it's changed things. Is we have all of these different forms of marketing available to us. I just picked out 6, but there's way more out there. And back in 1999, well, 1999 we wouldn't have social media, but in 1999, for the rest of these, basically what would happen is people would hear about your company in some form, get interested in your product, and what's probably the next thing that they would actually do? there's a good chance that at that point they're going to get in touch with you, right? They're going to phone you, they're going to walk into your store, whatever it was that people did in 1999. So these days, think about the way that you buy anything, whether you're considering services from a service provider, or you're buying a piece of equipment, or whatever it may be, pretty much anything other than direct e-commerce. Think about how you buy it, and maybe chat into the chat box of, if you hear about a company with services that might be interesting, what do you think the next thing that's going to happen is? How do you, if you hear about a service provider, check your website. Awesome. Anyone else? Is that what you do as well? Yeah. Anyone not? Yeah. Google search. Yep. Yep. Awesome. Awesome. I love this. I love this. I love this so much because you've kind of hit on all my points. Yeah. So basically, you look the company up online. And that can be a number of things. It can mean your website. It can mean online reviews. It can mean looking at the competition and looking at what other offerings are out there. See if this is even the company that you want to deal with. And I would argue that that is the majority of what happens these days when people purchase. It actually goes one step further. You'll notice in the bottom middle box, I have the word proposals. Proposals as in sales proposals, because people actually come back and visit your website even after they've talked to you, even after they have a sales proposal in hand, and it's going to affect their decision making. So we can't talk about online reviews, competitions, all that stuff. Those are subjects of our own. So we're going to focus on your website. And I'm going to make the bold statement then, just based on this little exercise we just did, that your website is central to your sales and marketing. And central to your sales and marketing, not because of anything that you've done, it's because your potential customers have said so. And you've all just voted for that and proven me right with your own experiences that, hey, this is how you pick out your own service provider. So the reality is, it's 2013. And it's going to be very difficult for you to go through an entire sales process without your customer having visited your website. It's going to happen. So today we obviously want to talk about how to take advantage of this huge opportunity, probably your most exciting leverage point, and that's your website, to actually drive lead sales and, most importantly, actually build relationships with your potential customers. And so we're going to start now with the 7 steps to generating business with your website. So this is the exact formula that we use at TiltedPixel, the exact thinking process we use when we develop websites for our customers, when our goal is to help them get leads online. So first and foremost, you need to understand your sales process. And sorry, I don't have a really fancy slide for this one, but it's actually a really important point. You need to understand what the next step is and where your website fits in. So for some businesses, it's going to be maybe start a free website trial. Like I see Douglas has a sports website service. So I imagine his website probably has a very strong call to action with, from the website, we want people creating a free trial. If we're talking about something like auto repair service, ultimately you want people phoning up your garage or contacting you online, telling you about your car troubles, and you can have them bring them in. Same sort of idea with legal services. So you got to understand where your website actually fits into the sales process and what it is that you want your visitor to do. Because if you yourself don't understand that, you're never going to be able to articulate that to this visitor. So let's assume you've got that figured out. Then we're actually talking about building a website page. And at TiltedPixel, we've kind of condensed this down to really a 3-step formula for building website pages that convert visitors into customers. And you can use this 3-step formula every single time. It always distills down to this. First things first, you make the problem that you're trying to solve immediately clear to the visitor. So for example, usertesting.com, this is just a service I really like. What do they say? They say user research results in 1 hour. Get videos of real people speaking their thoughts as they use your website or mobile app. Okay, that's definitely very clear to me. I know exactly what it is that they do. And notice how they've made that text the front and center. They don't hide it somewhere in the header. They don't hide it after screenshots and who knows what else. My eye is immediately drawn to that text. They've done an excellent job. Here's another one. Cam Instructor. Learn CAD, CAM, or CNC faster with online video training. Again, you're getting to the heart of a problem that the user is trying to solve. They're trying to learn CAD or CAM or CNC, and they're trying to learn it faster. And here's your solution. You're providing them online video training. And actually, I love this call to action. View online courses and invest in yourself today. Love it. And finally, Tilted Pixel. Not that, I'm biased or anything. We took a bit of a different format, more experimental format on our website, but it's the exact same concept. Imagine a website that tells your story perfectly, delights your customers, and boosts your sales. This is what we want to do for you. And that's what we're offering. So we got that out of the way. We know exactly what it is that we're doing, and the visitor now understands it as well. So now that we've made our claim, we have to actually back it up. And there's many, many ways you can do this, but there's two core principles that are going to make it work. One is you tell an engaging story. You probably have heard that people buy on story these days and not product, and that's absolutely true. And we could have a whole webinar on storytelling and what makes a good story. So we'll have to save that for another day, but I have a perfect example of good storytelling to show you. And you also want to back it up with real results, or really social proof. Social proof means other people are using the website and having success with it. So a couple examples of it. The absolute best example of storytelling I think I've ever seen on a product website is saddlebackleather.com. Absolutely love these guys. And, they've won. They have made me buy one of their bags, and they did it strictly on the basis of their strong storytelling. And you can see it actually begins right on their homepage. And they actually kind of mix in what they do with their story all in one with this beautiful tagline. They'll fight over it when you're dead. And it's fantastic. It's going far beyond just saying, hey, we deliver high quality leather products, to really turning it into something else altogether. And then they back it up with these beautiful rotating photos of their bags in these really strange places. I think they even have one of an elephant stomping on it or something like that, and sending a very clear message about the quality of it. But they're not just saying, hey, we have high quality, they're actually building a story about it. And then they actually do have pages and pages telling you how their products are made and the story behind it. And it's fantastic. So I highly recommend you check it out on your own time, because really you could get a course on storytelling, or you can check out Saddleback Leather, and I think you'll get just the same out of either. So in addition to storytelling, we were talking about the importance of providing social proof. So this is from freshbooks.com, just a screenshot of a part of their homepage. They have just some very beautifully done little customer testimonials. Arnold Evanson telling us how FreshBooks is less complicated, and I guess a secondary testimonial or review on the right-hand side. And they rotate through these. So this is, again, another job well done. And finally, again, I'm super biased. Really, I just like showing off our new website. So here's Tilted Pixel again. And this is what we do. We've actually created some videos of our customers talking about what we've done and turned them into these little mini case studies. And we highlight those on our homepage as well as our portfolio. And so this is social proof, and it's a bit of story building as well, because it is a case study. It actually, each video kind of follows a narrative of what actually happened, versus just, again, saying we did this, this, and this, which isn't nearly as engaging. So that's step 2 of a formula. Oh, sorry. Now step 3, so we know what the product does. We've convinced you with stories, with social proof, that this is worth trying. Every single page needs to end with a call to action. And this is going to make or break your website. Don't leave it to the visitor to figure out where they're going to be clicking next on your website or how on earth to get in touch with you next. Make that very, very clear. So here are some examples of calls to action. A couple from Tilted Pixel, a couple I took from some other websites. Call to action can be many things. Since we're talking about lead generation, a lot of you probably in some format want someone to reach out to you and get in touch, which is actually the case with Tilted Pixel. When you get to our website, what we really want you to do is we want you to get in touch with us and tell us about your project. So you'll notice all over our website, including at the bottom of our homepage, there's a big button of some kind saying start your website design project and contact us about your project. And if you click that, you get a form that you can fill in. So that's one example. In some cases, your product might already be up for sale. Maybe this isn't a product where there's any further sales process. So that's where we have the nice example from Rock Climb Tips with their giant, absolutely giant add to cart button. And the reason these calls to action are so big is we really don't want to leave any doubt to people as to what it is that they want. And it's been proven time and time again that if you can have a call to action that has high contrast, high visibility, really stand out, it's going to work a lot better. Like we're talking very measurable results, like double or triple the amount of people that respond to it, just by making your call to action really attractive. Calls to action don't always have to be directly about getting sales. We'll talk a little bit more about that in a bit. But sometimes your goal isn't to get a potential sale right away. Sometimes it might be something else, like get them on an email list. There's tons and tons of cool stuff you can do with email. Or it might be start a free trial. Maybe it's the free trial that then actually converts someone to a paying prospect, but you start with just getting them to trial the product. And that goes back to understanding your sales process, understanding your marketing campaign, really understanding what it is that you're trying to do. Next. Those are the 3 steps. And if you can do that and apply it, you're going to do well. So next is your homepage is okay on your website. So your homepage is literally your homepage, what they get when they type in like www like annscupcakes.com. And I just made up annscupcakes.com. That's a hypothetical site. But you can get a lot more results if you go beyond the homepage and actually create pages that are laser targeted towards whatever it is that you're promoting. So as we saw at the beginning of a webinar, there's tons and tons of marketing you could be doing. And if you send everybody to your homepage, it's going to be a very, very diluted message because your homepage kind of tries to appease everyone. So take the example of this hypothetical cupcake company. Let's say they have 3 pieces of marketing. They have some advertisements running on, let's say, Google, advertising their gluten-free cupcakes. They've decided to do a customer appreciation campaign. And they've actually had like a weight loss cupcake article featured in a magazine. I don't think cupcakes can actually make you lose weight, so don't take that to heart. But let's say it happened. So Anne could have sent everybody to her homepage, but can you imagine trying to simultaneously tell customers you appreciate them, feature your gluten-free cupcakes, and talk about your how to lose weight with cupcakes article all on the homepage? It's a mess. So instead what you can do is you can create pages on your website called landing pages. And really a landing page is simply a page that you've chosen to target your advertising towards and which focuses on one specific thing and one thing only. So to give you an example, I've kind of mocked up a fake one for Anne for her gluten-free special. So here we go. Let's pretend her gluten-free cupcake ad goes to this website. You'll notice this page does a few things. One, it follows the 3 principles that we just talked about. It actually makes it very clear right away what she's offering: special, all-natural, gluten-free cupcakes. She tells a bit of a story. I just wrote this quickly, so please don't judge my storytelling skills. She backs it up with some social proof. She had a TV segment on XYZ Cooking Network, so she embedded a video from that on her page. And she has a very strong call to action. You can actually order these cupcakes by filling in a form directly on her gluten-free cupcake page. And the reason she's able to do all that is she's taken the effort to actually put together a page specifically for her gluten-free cupcake advertisements. If she was just sending her ads to her homepage, she would not have that level of precision of being able to speak only to the gluten-free crowd, build a story only around gluten-free, and then, of course, have that strong call to action. So that's the landing page. And the reason you want to use a landing page is, at the end of the day, they convert more. Plain and simple. If you're not using them already, you should be. One, they deliver a more targeted message, like we just discussed. They allow you to focus on getting the visitor to do just one thing. So you'll remember the page I just showed you. It doesn't try to get you to sign up for her social media list or buy other types of cupcakes. We're just focused on sending some gluten-free cupcakes to the visitor's door. Another cool thing is landing pages allow you to experiment and optimize. So they allow you to create different versions of the same offer, and maybe half of your advertisements go to version 1, half of your advertisements go to version 2, and you see which offer is working better. And once you have the better winning offer, that's when you can then run more advertisements using that optimized version. And you can experiment and optimize all you want. And actually, before we get to nurture your leads and relationships, I just want to point out one more example. The webinar that you signed up that you're listening to today, that was all done with a landing page as well. Each and every one of you went to a page talking about the webinar. You'll remember it had a picture of me, it had examples of what it is that the webinar is going to talk about, and it had a big registration form and nothing else. At that point, we weren't trying to sell you a website. We weren't trying to get you to sign up for social media. We were just laser focused on getting the webinar sign up. Next thing we want to talk about that I alluded to earlier is for a really well converting page, leads is the wrong word. We kind of sold this as a webinar on generating leads because everyone talks about getting leads from their website. Leads are so important to sales, but that's not quite how the internet works anymore. A better term to think about it is nurturing your relationships. Because sure, for some percentage of visitors to your website, they might be looking for your product right now and be in a position to buy it right now. And sure, then they'll fill out a quote request or they'll start a free trial or whatever it is that you wanted them to do. And here's your chance to get a new customer. But not everyone is in that position. In fact, most of your target market at any given time is not actually out shopping for your service. They might not have the budget right now to buy it. It might just be poor timing. Maybe like in our case, I hear a lot of, well, we just redeveloped our website. Sometimes that's kind of scary when I look at the site, but sometimes I hear that. So sometimes people just aren't shopping for what you offer, but they still want to connect with you. They're still interested, and down the road might be the opportunity to sell to them. So you don't want to just be thinking about, hey, get someone to contact me. Think about getting them engaged. Think about connecting with them on social media. Think about getting them to sign up for your newsletter. Think about writing informative articles on your blog that keep them coming back. And basically nurture that relationship so that when the person is ready to buy, they know of you, they haven't lost touch with you, they've had many connections with you and with your material. And then, quite frankly, it's a much easier sell. We get a lot of out of Tilted Pixel where people start by visiting our website, really doing their research. They're considering building a new website, but they got to get approval from their boss. They got to be able to justify it, and they have to understand how to even pick a website company. So in that case, what we really want them doing is we want to get them on our email list. We want to get them on social media, and we want them to start interacting with us in our content. So 3 months down the road or a year down the road, these are going to be people that are already predisposed to buy from us because they see that we're experts in the field. they like what we've produced, and they have an existing relationship with us. And then it's a far, far easier sale than if you've connected with someone for 5 minutes over a sales call and already it's time to start making a pitch. And finally, the last thing I want to talk about before we get into some concrete ideas about what you can do to generate leads is this last little bit that I said was a bit of a bonus before that people forget. Just like we want to think about leads in terms of nurturing potential relationships with our customers instead of just always getting them to buy from now. The other thing people forget is your website's job doesn't end when someone gets in touch with you in order to buy from you. Your website can be one of your most effective, impactful sales tool if you would actually use it that way. When we looked at the beginning, we saw that people will visit your website even after they've already spoken with you, even after they're holding a proposal in hand from you. And I can attest to that because that's the type of sales process we have. We write proposals for our clients or potential clients. And I know that they're still checking out our website after. They're reviewing our content. And what they're basically looking for is they're looking for more information. They're looking to clarify something. They're looking to see if the quality of product that we're producing matches with what they're looking for. So a really bad website puts you in a position where now your sales team has to sell your product in spite of your website. So even though you have poor examples, even though you have outdated product shots, even though your website doesn't exist, your sales team is stuck still trying to sell. Whereas if a great website can actually be a huge asset. It can be a huge asset because sometimes your sales proposal is being discussed in a meeting, and of course your salesperson isn't there. The key decision makers have all sat down together and said, okay, we need to make a decision. We've got these 3 companies. They might still pull up your website. They might still go through your material and your services. And what your website can do is it can seize that opportunity to reiterate the key messaging that your proposal is indicating. So whatever you're saying in your proposal is important to your business. Your website should, of course, be reflecting that. You should also have case studies. You should have supporting materials, maybe more technical data. Obviously, like we talked about, the social proof, showing other companies, other customers that have achieved some level of success with your product. And these are the very real things that can nudge you over the top, especially if they're looking at 3 different providers, and sometimes it's you're the highest priced one there, and the other ones came in a little cheaper. Well, really, why should they be choosing you instead of them? Your website has that last chance to make that case. So those are the ways that you can basically structure your website so that you can effectively use it to generate leads, to generate relationships, to over time build up an amazing customer base, and actually how to use your website then to support your sales process as well. So to finish things off, I've got 21 ideas for you, just very specific ideas that you can go and you can take today and you can apply. And this is where I do challenge you to forget about all 21 of them and instead focus on 3 ideas. That's all I want you to walk away with here. And I want you to today, before the day is over, to take the very next action on implementing those 3 ideas, whether that's talking to your web developer, whether that's signing up for an account on a social media service, whether that's sitting down and writing copy for your awesome new landing page. Take that next action, whatever it might be. It's going to pay off. So remember, you're watching for 3 relevant to your business, but I am here offering you 21. And I've grouped them a little bit. So first, some tips on better calls to action. So if you are in any sort of business that runs off leads where someone actually has to get in touch with your business, use a contact form. They convert better. You can still put your email address, you can still put your phone number on your website, but make sure you have a form that they can fill in. Don't make the form too long. Don't make it arduous to fill out, but have a contact form. Because contact form does a couple things. One, it's a lot easier to fill in a contact form than to use your email client. What you're doing is you're taking the difficulty away from the visitor and you're prompting them for the specific information that you need. But just don't make it a 21 field contact form. Make it short and simple. Get the person's name, get their email address, maybe their phone number, and really what it is that they're looking for as succinctly as possible. And as we've discussed, make your call to action stand out. If right now, if you go on your website and it's not very clear what you want the visitor to do, change it. Change it right now. Make it something big. Make it stand out. Make it high contrast. Make it big. Make it hard to miss. And don't be afraid to use it more than once. And when you're designing your calls to action, and really when you're designing your whole website, think always of a benefit that you're delivering to the person that you're trying to convert. Don't think about yourself. So for example, with signing up for a product that sends you coffee once a month, you can have you can have a button that says buy now, or you can have a button that says start getting higher quality coffee delivered to your door every month. So when you phrase things in terms of what it is that they're getting, rather than just buy my stuff, chances are it's gonna convert better. Launching new products. Launching new products is a lot of fun. You have a lot of opportunities to do some good things. One example, if you're launching a new service, new product, I want you to have a coming soon landing page. And all that landing page has to have is some sort of preview, ideally a preview video, but you can have some preview text if you're not up to making a video, but just explain what the service is and have an email sign up. And then go ahead and feel free to start promoting that service is coming soon. The most insane conversion rate I have ever witnessed was actually on a coming soon landing page, where we set up a coming soon landing page and the client happened to get a little bit of awesome publicity. And a lot of people actually came to that landing page and they did in fact sign up with their email address because they wanted to be notified when the product was launching. And the publicity was so good, the landing page was so good, people were so eager to actually get the service in their hands when it launched a couple months later. 40% of the people that signed up for that email list actually went ahead and bought the product. Now you can imagine what an amazing kickstart for that business that was. I've got a question. What kind of service for coming soon landing page? Whatever it is that you're starting. Maybe you're starting a new product, entirely new business. This one was an info product in particular. But really this can work with anything that's new. If you're an existing business, if you're launching a new service offering or a new product to add to your extra ones, that's a product launch as well. And you should always make sure to take advantage of a launch because people like new, people like interesting, it's instantly newsworthy. So another thing you can do is if you already have a targeted email list, so you already have, or you know someone else that you can partner with that has an email list or somehow has an audience, you can create a series of instructional pieces of content. And you can drip it out, send it out to people prior to the launch, basically to kind of give them a taste of what you're offering, deliver some really strong value, and basically get people excited for your launch and probably, again, signing up to hear about your launch. So for example, if you're launching a product on, I don't know, how to tie your shoes better. Actually, I did see a TEDx video a couple of weeks ago where apparently most of us are tying our shoes the wrong way. So maybe that's not such a crazy product. So you're creating this product, then maybe ahead of time you'll have 3 videos with 3 different ways to tie your shoes or something like that. And then that basically provides value to people, but it also gets them excited for your product. Or you could be running a webinar. Those work insanely well as well. If you're launching something new, you run a webinar that basically tells people how they can solve the problem that they're having. And then, of course, in the webinar, you offer the solution, that being the new product that you just launched. Next, email list. Email is, of course, very powerful. So it's not enough to have an email list. You actually got to do something with it. So remember that whole relationship part that we were talking about before? Email lists are incredible for building relationships with people. And these people might buy from you a month later, 6 months later, years later. But that'll only work if when someone signs up to your email list, you actually engage them and you actually provide value to them. One way to do that is an automated email drip campaign. And what that is you set up a series of what are known as autoresponders. And you set them up ahead of time, and you set them up so that people receive them every few days. So you could schedule 21 of them, and the first one gets sent out to every sign up a day after they sign up. Next one gets sent out 4 days after they sign up. Next one gets sent out 7 days after they sign up, and so on and so forth. And each one is basically something valuable to them. You really want to strategize how you build your email list and what kind of expectations you set for your customers, and then deliver on that with your automated campaign. Another tip for email lists, if you have a list, segment it. Most mailing list programs let you store all sorts of data about your subscribers to basically let you send out more targeted content to them. So for example, with Tilted Pixel List, we store a ton of data about our customers and what we know about them. So even simple stuff like what sort of web hosting configuration they use. And later, if we have some information we want to send out to them, we can send it out only to the people that it's actually relevant for. So in that web server example, if we're upgrading something that's only going to affect certain customers, we use segmentation to only email them. Or alternatively, if you set up your list correctly, you can have information about which people on your list tried the free trial of your product. So actually I have another business, my sports site. It's a sports team website business, and that's one of the things that we do is we have an automated campaign that gets sent out only to people that have actually created a website trial with us, and for some reason they didn't buy. And then we actually send them an offer automatically 30 days after they create their free trial, offering them a $10 Amazon gift card if they tell us why on earth they didn't buy from us. And we're able to do that thanks to segmentation. And lastly, and I kind of already mentioned that, if you want people to engage with you on your email list, it's always a soft sell approach. You want to first and foremost focus on creating value for your subscribers. People do want to receive your emails if you're creating value. And value can be created in many different ways. One obvious example, of course, is information. In fact, I bet you all get emails in your inbox, some welcome, some not. But the good ones that are welcome might be offering you information that you find truly and really valuable. Another thing that could be delivering value is letting your interested customers know when there's a special sale or a truly genuine special offer. People do sign up sometimes to save money. Amazon leverages this incredibly well. If they see that you're browsing a certain type of product, but you haven't bought, a week later, sure enough, you actually get an email from Amazon offering you a discount or a special on that type of product. And that creates value too, because that's actually bringing attention to something that you actually want. Versus what's not creating value is sending in an email like clockwork every 7 days telling them how awesome your product is and that they should buy from you now. It didn't work the first 5 times. It's not going to work the 6th. There you're not delivering any value. You're just thinking of yourself. So think of your visitors. Next, this is a fun one. And that's conferences and talks. So some of you may be in types of businesses where you are involved in where you exhibit at a conference, or much better, you get to speak at a conference, or maybe you get to give a small talk somewhere, talk to like a local association of the types of businesses that you're looking for. Maybe you even get invited to a potential customer to present to their employees. Whatever it may be, conferences and talks are a great, great, great opportunity to take advantage of your website. And I think a lot of companies actually really miss this opportunity. So a couple ideas for you. One is before the conference or talk or whatever, promote that you're going to be speaking or exhibiting at it. And be specific about what it is that you're actually offering. So I do see a lot of websites, like B2B websites, that are selling complex products, so that are expensive. So of course they go to different conferences and exhibit about the product. And I go to their website and all I see is this laundry list of conferences that they're going to be at. And my first thought is, why do I care? Uh, it's great that you're going to be at that conference. You've given me nothing to benefit from. Um, Whereas a much smarter presenter or exhibitor, they'll actually be very specific about what it is that you stand to gain by connecting with them at the conference. Like if you're giving a talk, obviously talk about exactly what it is that you're going to talk about and what the benefit to the audience is. If you're exhibiting, then there better be something awesome to see at your booth. Maybe you're showing off your new product that you've just released, or a new version of your software that allows you to do XYZ, and you're going to be demonstrating exactly how to do XYZ. Way, way more powerful than just passively telling people, hey, I'm going to be there. Next, if you're one of those people that have the fantastic opportunity to actually give a talk at a conference or any sort of talk, always end your talk with a clear call to action. You've just presented to a whole group of people that are eager to hear from you. Don't just walk off that stage with no next action. Send them to a special page that you've made on your website with additional resources that you've posted, or encourage them even to connect with you on LinkedIn or even email you. Do something to actually build a connection with that audience, because they all now see you as the expert, and it's your chance to build a relationship with each and every one of them. Or you can just walk off stage and disappear into the crowd. It's your choice. You know what I advocate. Lastly, after you give your talk, post your slides. And awesome and very specific tip is to post them on a website called slideshare.net. There's a good chance you may have seen it before. And it's just this surprisingly search engine friendly website and surprisingly good source of traffic that's specifically for hosting presentations. And this way your audience benefits because they get to see the slides from your talk. But there's a good chance your slides can also get found organically through search engines, through the SlideShare site, or whatever it may be. And SlideShare even has a feature where at the end of your presentation, you can pull up a form encouraging people to get in touch with you to discuss your product further. So it's a really powerful tool. A lot of speakers use it. Give it a try. Next is social media. So social media, obviously there's a lot of services. So I actually advocate using less social media and doing a better job of it. So we have people come to us and they give us this laundry list of social media services they want to be on. They want to be on YouTube. They want to be on Facebook. They want to be on Twitter. They want to be on Pinterest. They want to be on Instagram. And the list goes on and on and on because there's a new social media site, feels like every day. Instead, focus only on the ones that you have a legitimate chance of using and ones that actually connect very well to your business. Not every business, believe it or not, was made for Twitter. You can force fit Twitter to work for everyone, or you can pick a social media service that's going to do more for you. And I specifically want to highlight for you B2B companies out there, I want you to consider LinkedIn and I want you to consider YouTube. LinkedIn has slowly become a really effective business networking tool, really effective way to showcase yourself. And if you actually build up a follower count, you're getting followers that are actually interested in you on a professional level, and not just because you're posting pictures of cats or something like that. And we've actually found LinkedIn, and I found my own personal LinkedIn profile very effective. Some of you attending this webinar have actually joined as a result of seeing the LinkedIn message. And the other one, of course, is YouTube. YouTube is fantastic because B2B products often imply a certain level of complexity and all sorts of problems that your product is solving. So you can actually create informative YouTube videos on how to solve these products. And then you can promote the YouTube videos. And there's a lot of ways to do that, but I'll give you one really cool hint, something that we've discovered that works really well is YouTube ads. So when you watch a video, there's ads that show up on the right-hand side, or when you search for something on YouTube, the first couple of results are usually ads. Uh, those ads are incredibly cheap, incredibly cheap. Like you can get views to your YouTube video for a few cents. And if you come up with some nice, short, highly instructional videos that end with a strong call to action, it's actually an incredible way to promote your business and to promote it to an audience that you didn't even know was out there and existed. Really good stuff. And just another kind of cool one is to display your user numbers, and that's less social media and more social proof, I guess. But if your service is getting used by a lot of people, don't be afraid to brag about it. Don't be afraid to say, join 20,000 other people using XYZ service. Or it's sort of the McDonald's strategy where for the longest times, the McDonald's signs had like 1 billion sold, 2 billion sold. I think they eventually stopped because they hit 99 billion and the signs couldn't wrap over to 100. But it's the same idea of using social proof to show, hey, other people are actually using your products. Next, online advertisements. Okay, so we're getting kind of close to the end of this 21-point list. So online advertisements, a few tips. So if you're doing any sort of online advertising, oftentimes it's very competitive. So it's very important for everything to be targeted very well. And it's very important that you actually test every part of your advertisement. So test different variations of your ads. Always use landing pages and test the variations of those landing pages. We're not talking about small improvements. We're talking about really big deal. Like one landing page could outperform another landing page by 50%. So imagine getting 50% more sales from the exact same advertisement just because you've taken the time to actually create a landing page that works. And of course, you're going to follow the 3-step formula that we discussed. I guess similar to that, make sure that your ad and your landing page offer match exactly. So this again, where landing pages are really important. So going back to the Anne's Cupcakes example, if you have an ad for gluten-free cupcakes, you darn well better make sure your whole landing page is talking about nothing but gluten-free cupcakes. Because people that click on ads get impatient really quickly. And if they get confused, if it doesn't look like you're actually offering what's in the ad, if they're not sure to get what you're offering, they're just going to leave. Lastly, if you're taking advantage of landing pages, you also have the opportunity to eliminate unnecessary distractions. So a really common tactic is to minimize the amount of navigation options on landing pages, get rid of anything that's going to risk them getting distracted from your offer, and definitely don't have any unrelated calls to action. So hide those Twitter buttons, hide those email signups. Just focus on getting the person to do what it is that you've created the landing page for them to do. So if you're selling gluten-free cupcakes, that should be the only call to action I see on your website page. Same with the webinar. We only cared about one thing with the webinar page. We wanted you to sign up for the webinar. So we weren't trying to sell you a website. We weren't trying to get you to sign up for our email list. Next, understanding your target market. So this is kind of a bit of a concluding thought for these tips. One, with the internet, not everything is sold through cat videos and Twitter. I promise you that. So be very selective about the types of promotion that you use so that they're actually relevant to your business. Just because there's some hot new thing on the internet for promoting yourself doesn't mean it's going to work for you. I've given you some good ideas if you're a B2B business. Those are the ones that often struggle. Business to consumer is a little bit little bit easier sometimes to come up with like social media and things like that because so many of those services are geared towards consumers. But for B2B businesses, I assure you the options are there too. But you really got to think about what's possible. And yeah, Rhonda, birdies and kitties, it it depends what you're selling. Angry Birds, the game obviously sold very well, but they might not be as effective when selling a $30,000 piece of equipment. And focus, and this kind of ties into focus on what's valuable to your target customer and deliver that over and over and over again. And if you can just do that, and if you can really outline what is in fact valuable to them and give them that, then you will have success. And on that, test your assumptions. Survey your customer, run split tests, use services like usertesting.com, which we used as an example earlier. They have a pretty cool service. Test your assumptions about what it is that your customers actually want. Don't try to assume that you know your target market and you know what they want. Don't speak for them. Test those assumptions and test them. Once you know exactly what they want, deliver that over and over again. You will be successful. So those are 21 tips. I'm pretty sure it's 21 because my throat is feeling pretty sore. So just some concluding thoughts for you, and then we can take some questions. So one is your website is definitely absolutely one of your highest leverage growth opportunities because your customers, your potential customers, they all go to it. We've seen that. In fact, I challenge you to make many sales without at some point having your customer look you up online. Even if you don't have a website, they're still going to look you up, but instead they're going to find online reviews, they're going to find your competitors, they're not going to find you. And that's only going to keep, that trend's only going to keep increasing as more and more people enter the workforce who basically grew up on the internet. And those people are now becoming decision makers, and they don't check the yellow pages, they Google. Next thing is a website that converts visitors into customers or leads or helps you build relationships. That kind of website is designed strategically. I've just shared with you the kind of processes, the kind of thoughts, the kind of ideas we have at Tilted Pixel, and that's how we help our own clients develop websites that do in fact work. We've measured the results. We have helped people increase their sales. We have helped people increase their leads. We've helped people do some really cool things. And this is the exact kind of way that we do it. And this is what you can apply to your own websites yourselves, or of course you can reach out to us and we can discuss putting together some of these results to work for you. And lastly, pick your battles. So we've kind of talked about this already, but each business is different. So use the ideas that make sense for you. Again, I challenge you to use 3, not 21, and pick the 3 that are actually relevant to you and that you think are going to get you the most help for your sales and marketing, going to get you the most traction. So I'll just leave my contact info up here. Again, Matt Inglot, founder of Tilted Pixel, and you've got my email address here. Feel free to shoot me an email. And of course, check out our website because we do have lots more information and it's only going to grow. And I'm happy to talk to you. If you have any specific questions, put them into chat and let us know. Oh, we've got, I think. Okay, awesome. We got a lot of comments. Will this webinar be available online? Yeah, absolutely. Actually, I forgot to mention this, but the webinar will be available online because, yeah, we've covered a lot of topics. And not only will that be available online, I've got some bonus content for you that I'm going to put together, just summarizing some of this info into a cheat sheet. So watch your email in the next 24 hours or so. Dave's got a question. Landing pages, can it be done after the main site? Yeah, absolutely. Really, a landing page, ideally, it's probably a page on your website that you create. So each page is created differently. In the case of Tilted Pixel, our customers have specific section titled landing pages that let them create that, or sometimes it's titled no navigation, but these days we call it landing pages. But yeah, absolutely. The alternative, if for some reason it's very difficult on your website to create a landing page, there are actually services out there specifically for creating landing pages that are do-it-yourself. In that case, that landing page might not be hosted directly on your website, but oftentimes that's okay. And of course, you can contact us and have, if you don't want to redevelop your whole website, but you just want a landing page built, we can definitely do that too. We've got a question from John. What is the highest leverage test to do on a landing page? Ooh, love it. Ooh. So I think the things that you really want to test that have the highest chance of really making an impact is, first and foremost, test your offer and test your messaging. And this goes back to making assumptions about what your audience wants versus actually testing it. And sometimes it'll surprise you what it is that people actually respond to. Sometimes it might be as simple as rephrasing your offer. Maybe you're not using the types of terminology that your audience relates to. Sometimes when we talk about our businesses, we understand exactly what we talk about and we assume everyone else understands too. But the reality is, if you actually kind of probe in some of the conversations you have with people, you realize quickly that sometimes when you talk to someone, you might be 80% on the same page, but 20% they might actually have a very different interpretation. So if they think of themselves as being in a certain group or think of themselves with certain terminology or certain problems, if you're not connecting to that, you're going to lose them very quickly. So test that audience, test that messaging. A good way to see if your offer is failing is to look at the bounce rate on your landing page. The bounce rate is how many people leave without doing anything else. And look at the average amount of time that someone has spent on that landing page. Both of these statistics very easily accessible from Google Analytics. If you're finding that people come to your landing page and they leave within like the first few seconds, there's a good chance that whatever you've written on that page is simply not connecting with them. Meanwhile, if the average time on the page is a bit longer, but then your page really still isn't converting, then it might be the call to action, or it might be the specific offer, it might be the service price, because you've kind of hooked them with your messaging. But there's no follow through that you're generating, and in that case, that might be the kind of things that you can test. Any other questions? Julie, what is a good time indicator for how long they should be on your page? Ooh, another good one. That's a tough one because it depends on your page. It really does. It depends what sort of information you have on your page. Some pages really take a minute to process. Some pages, if you have like a video that's embedded on it, that video might be 2 minutes in itself. Actually, if you have something like a video, and if you host that video through something like YouTube, you can actually see how many people play through that video, how long, so you can see like how many people got to 25% of a video, 50% of a video, 75% of video, or watched all of it. I would definitely look for huge warning signs is when that time on page is ridiculously low, because people haven't consumed your content and they left. So that's where I'm looking for like 3 seconds, 4 seconds, 5 seconds. Obviously, I didn't capture your attention. And then it's on me to rethink my target market, rethink my landing page. Because that's actually another thing that could be wrong. It could just be that the traffic flowing to your landing page is not relevant enough. You ran an ad on a website that you thought would be people perfect for your product, but that just might not be the case. They might actually not be looking to purchase a paid product, or their audience might be a lot more diverse, or maybe your ad is actually drawing in the wrong type of person. So you got to be able to test all those things. Anything else? What is a good way to start trickle email newsletters? Are there any applications that can be used for this application that is free? Okay, awesome question. There's two services that have kind of become the gold standard. My absolute favorite is MailChimp. Yep, MailChimp, as in the form of primate. And it's just an overall ridiculously good service. They do have a really powerful autoresponder feature. It's what we use for a lot of our campaigns and client campaigns. And one of the cool things is not only can you set up automatic drips, so time your emails based on when people signed up to your newsletter. You can do much more sophisticated stuff, like have a separate drip campaign specifically for people on your newsletter that attended your webinar. And then you might want to send those folks some very specific info. The only thing with MailChimp you should be aware of is they have a very extensive terms of service, and there's certain industries that they will not work with, and they will not work with you if you promote affiliate products. So in that case, the other service that's kind of become a gold standard, feature-wise, to be honest, not as good as MailChimp, but it's more accommodating of certain industries. And so in that case, aweber.com, aweber.com, is another one to look at. Oh, and I should mention, MailChimp does have a free version. Aweber does not. But both of them do start at pretty reasonable starting points, like I think something like 10, 20 bucks a month. And in the case of MailChimp, if you're willing to put their email badge at the bottom of your email, then I think you can send out to a couple hundred users for free. Any others? Okay, awesome. Well, thanks a lot for attending. It's been great fun. Don't forget to connect with me on Tilted Pixel. And if you are interested in having your website rebuilt, I mean, we have just covered why, oh why. A website can have just absolutely astounding impacts on your sales and marketing. So certainly get in touch. And again, thanks so much for attending.